Introduction to Radiology. I do have to place a disclaimer here that when referring to the parts of the X-ray machine and the pieces associated with it, this was created at a time when X-ray machines used film and not the digital versions that we see today. The information may be interesting, may still be applicable, and may still be occasionally referenced by those people that actually service X-ray machines. Pieces and parts. Parts of the X-ray machine. You'll see a picture with an X-ray machine labeled A, B, C, D, and E. A is the X-ray tube. It consists of an anode and cathode. B, collimator, device that controls the size of the primary beam. C, tube stand, supports the X-ray tube and collimator, adjusts the source imaging distance, or SID. D, control panel, consists of the on-off switch, KVP major and minor, adjustment knob, MA selector knob, time selection knob, exposure button. E, table, consists of tabletop, grid, and film tray. The X-ray tube consists of anode and cathode. The anode is a positively charged electrode, which acts as a target for the electrons from the cathode. Electrons interacting with the anode produce heat and X-rays. The cathode is a negatively charged electrode that provides a source of electrons. The collimator consists of the primary beam, lead plates, and light. The primary beam is X-rays that leave the X-ray tube in a somewhat directional and somewhat wandering manner. The lead plates adjust to focus or block the primary beam. The light is a light that facilitates visualization of the field size, which is the area which the beam has been collimated into. Shadow lines will form an X or box to locate the center of the beam. The source imaging distance, or SID, is the distance from the source of the X-rays to the image receptor or film. This is typically set at 40. X-ray tubes will need to be adjusted up or down depending upon whether or not the film is placed in the table or on the table. If the distance is less than 40, the intensity of the film increases. If the distance is more than 40, the intensity of the film decreases. The control panel has an off-on switch, which is self-explanatory. KVP refers to the penetrating power of the X-rays. These knobs increase or decrease the penetration of the X-rays. MA refers to the number of X-rays produced. These knobs increase or decrease the numbers of X-rays. Time is the period of time that the electrons are permitted to leave the cathode. This knob increases or decreases the time X-rays are produced. As a side note, MAS is the number of X-rays produced over a given period of time. This is a mathematical number that's based on MA and time. The exposure button can be a button on the control panel, but it is usually in the form of a foot pedal. The tabletop is part of the table. It is a large flat area that a patient is positioned on for radiographs. The tabletop, or the table, also consists of a grid or bucky, a device placed between the patient and the cassette that is designed to absorb scatter radiation, and a film tray that is located under the table where the film cassette is placed. It maneuvers in tandem with the X-ray tube. Okay, parts of a film cassette. You'll see a picture of a cassette with A, B, C, and D. A is the cassette, which is a light-proof encasement designed to hold the film and intensifying screens in close contact to each other. B is a lead blocker, an area on or in the cassette preventing the irradiation of part of the film needed for radiograph identification. Hinges and latches are C. These keep the cassette closed, preventing the light from entering the cassette. And D, the film. The image is permanently recorded on this sheet. A side note, when you're placing the cassette or the film into the tabletop or the bucky tray or on top of the table, you want to have the cassette positioned usually with the smooth side up. As you can see on the cassette picture labeled A, B, C, and D, there are hinges, latches on it. If you place the cassette upside down, these will appear on your image. Parts of the developing room. There is a processor, a film bin, a safe light, and a film identification system usually. The processor is usually in the form of either a hand tank, which are extinct now, or virtually extinct, automatic processors, which are being phased out by digital processing, and pretty much have been by this date. The film bin is a light-proof storage box for unexposed film. The safe light is a specially filtered light that will not expose film. It is usually red. The film identification system, usually the film imprinting system, and it exposes film to identification information at the lead blocker on the film. Personal protection. The 4 basic parts to protecting yourself in radiology. The lead gown or apron. There are various types on the market. It protects the body, maybe in 1 piece, 2 pieces. B, lead gloves. Several types on the market. There are paddles and gloves. The best type, you put your hands inside. C, thyroid shield. Protects the thyroid glands. The thyroid shield may be incorporated into the lead gown or apron, or it may be a separate device. D, lead goggles. These protect the eyes. Other equipment that can help you with positioning or protecting yourself. Lead shield. A lead panel or wall that blocks scatter radiation. You hide behind this when you're exposing the patient. A V-tray, usually foam or plastic, radiolucent tray that keeps the patient from rotating when in DV or VD positions. Positioning devices like wedges, foam blocks or wood blocks, tape, gauze, rope, and compression bands. These devices aid to keep the patient in proper position while keeping the technician's hands out of the beam. Sandbags, weighted bags that hold the body into position while keeping the technician's hands out of the beam. These are not radiolucent, by the way. E, the dosimeter badge. Not PPE, but a device that monitors radiation exposure. Lastly, there should be a rack to store lead gowns and gloves. All radiology rooms should have a rack of some sort to hang PPE. If left crumpled on the table and floor, the lead shield inside will develop cracks leading to exposure. Cleaning. Cleaning of the lead apron, thyroid shields, lead gloves are going to be very similar to each other. After each use, you're going to wipe down with mild soap and water, then dry with a soft cloth. They can be sprayed with Rocal for 10 minutes, or a hydrogen product, or a quaternary-based product, then wiped off with mild soap and water if contaminated. Remove any hair or fuzz from the Velcro if applicable. For lead gloves, if an employee has sweaty palms, they should use cotton gloves when wearing lead gloves. These can be hand washed or washed in the laundry. Lead goggles, after each use, can be wiped down also with a mild soap and water, then dried with a soft cloth. They can also be sprayed with Rocal for 10 minutes, or a hydrogen product or quaternary-based product, then wiped off with mild soap and water if contaminated. Lead shields, V-trays, positioning devices, and sandbags. Again, after each use, should be wiped down with mild soap and water, then dried with a soft cloth. They can also be sprayed with Rocal for 10 minutes, hydrogen product, or quaternary-based product, then wiped off with mild soap and water if contaminated. V-trays may have a removable cover that can be hand washed or washed on gentle with dilute bleach or detergent. See the manufacturer's recommendation. Some of them can actually be put in the laundry. Positioning devices such as gauze squares, roll gauze, tape, cardboard should be thrown away after each use if contaminated. Sandbags may also have a cover that can be removed and washed or washed on gentle with bleach and detergent. You'll again have to see manufacturer's instructions. The machine, after each use, wipe down with mild soap and water, then dry with a soft cloth. It can also be sprayed with Rocal for 10 minutes or a hydrogen product or a quaternary-based product. Then wipe off with mild soap and water if contaminated. Cassettes, every 1 to 2 months, should be cleaned. Inside the darkroom, remove the unexposed film from the cassette. For ease, place all unexposed films into one cassette. Place unexposed films in one cassette to be cleaned after the other cassettes have been cleaned, dried, and reloaded. Outside the darkroom, wipe the outside of the cassette with mild soap and a soft cloth. Use only screen cleaner on the inside of the cassettes. Open cassettes, spray the interior of the cassette with the screen cleaner. Use a lint-free paper or cloth or gauze. Wipe the interior of the cassette. Allow to dry open. Back in the darkroom, replace the unexposed film into all the cassettes. Repeat the process for the cassette that you used to store all the cassettes if you chose to use that. Review. You must be familiar with radiology basics before you can take a radiograph on a patient. Be able to match the parts with their descriptions. Looking at a picture of the X-ray machine, you must be able to identify the X-ray tube, collimator, tube stand, control panel, and table. Looking at a picture of a cassette, you must be able to identify the latches, the hinges, the lead blocker, bottom of the cassette, top of the cassette. Looking in a darkroom, you must be able to identify the safe light, film bin, processor, film identification system. You must be able to identify radiology PPE and how to correct the PPE, lead gloves, lead gown or apron, thyroid shield, lead glasses. You must be able to identify miscellaneous radiology equipment that is designed to assist and protect people when taking radiographs, lead shield, V-tray, sandbags, dosimeter badge.